Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I really wanted to rank all of my cream bronzers in my collection. I have quite the amount of cream bronzers right now. I've been on a cream kick as these cream products have just kind of taken the makeup world by storm over the last couple of years, and I've tried so many cream bronzers, and these are all, I would say, decent cream bronzers. There's none in here that I would say are actually terrible on the skin, but I have certain things I look for in a cream bronzer. With my skin type, I have oily skin. I don't usually like a super glowy bronzer, and I also like a pretty pigmented cream bronzer that's not going to be too natural, but also not look really muddy or patchy on my skin. I liked my bronzer to show up, so if that sounds like you too, I think you'll really enjoy these rankings. So let's go ahead and get started. I don't know if I said this in the beginning, but I have a total of 12 to go over today. On the bottom, number 12 is going to be this Milk Makeup Bionic Bronzer. It is a liquid bronzer. I will say this does blend out really easily for a liquid. I typically don't like a lot of liquid products, but it does blend out really nice. The con for me is that this is very oily almost when it comes out. Even shaking it up, it does need a good shake. I still feel like I get a very oily consistency. You guys can kind of see here, but it's super liquidy, but it just has that oily look to it. So it almost has a bit of a sheen. So when I put this on, it's extremely natural, so it almost doesn't show up, but it almost gives me like this glow. So for my preferences, it's not something I really want in a bronzer. I already get glowy enough as it is throughout the day. But if you guys have dry skin, maybe this is something that you guys would like. But for me, it's a little too natural, way too glowy for me, so that's why it's on the bottom. For number 11, we have another more glowy natural cream bronzer, and this is from Makeup by Mario. This is their Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer, which I was so confused when this product came out because I thought it would be like a cream foundation, not realizing that it's basically another name for a cream bronzer, but it has a glow to it. It's very natural, again, very kind of sheer when you put it on. I'll show you guys how it kind of blends out here, but you guys could see there's not a lot there. I know a lot of people like using this for like no foundation days, but for me it just doesn't show up and doesn't give what I need in a bronzer, so that's why it ranks in the bottom. For number 10, we have the Sei Sun Melt Natural Cream Bronzer. Now this one does have natural in the name, and I do own the lightest shade, I think maybe lightest or second to lightest in light bronze. This is a very blendable bronzer, but it's almost too blendable for me, where it blends to nothing, and maybe I should try a darker shade. I'm not quite sure, but I've given it a few shots and it's just not something that I really reach for or really enjoy how it looks on me, because it is just too light. But here is the swatch for you guys. As you guys can see, I probably should just try a deeper shade, but it does blend out really beautifully on the skin. I just need a little bit more pigmentation so that it actually looks like I did something to my face. Number 9, this may come as a shocker to some, but I'm gonna say the Chanel Le Beiges Cream Bronzer. I don't think this is a bad bronzer, but it's very pricey. You do get a lot of product though, but it's just not something I really love. I don't love the color so much. I've tried even their original lighter bronzer, and that one looks so orange on me, and this one's definitely a step up. This is the medium, so it has a better tone to it, but I just don't love the formula on me personally. It runs a little bit too orange still. I just feel like these run so warm. But that is what it looks like. It's pretty natural on the skin. Again, the tone is just not for me. I don't think they have the best shade range in this line. And while it's a fine bronzer, when I'm paying that much, I want it to be something that I put on and I'm just in love with. So it ranks a little towards the bottom. For number 8, we're gonna go with the Colourpop Putty Blushes. Now, these are so affordable, so they are one of the better drugstore cream bronzers on the market, but I'm going off of product performance rather than product price, but these rank a little towards the middle lower end of the spectrum. I have quite a few. I've tested them out and I do like the putty formula, but I will say it is very like slippy, so They don't last, I would say, very long on the cheeks as some of my other cream bronzers do, but they do have a more matte finish. They're a little bit harder to blend as well than some of my other bronzers since they are so like matte. They kind of skip a little bit. This is the shade I'll Bet, which is the one that I typically like to use. Their shades also run pretty warm, so do keep that in mind as well. I like a neutral, kind of more cool leaning bronzer. I don't want to look orange. They're decent, affordable ones, but just not like a super fave in my collection. Number 7 is my other drugstore cream bronzer. This one's actually from Revolution, and I think I do like this one a bit more than the Colourpop. This is a lot more creamy in texture. Now, I did get a little bit of a dark shade, but it does show up well on my skin. I really liked how this looked, and I felt like it lasted throughout the day on me. I want to try the lighter shade as well. I wouldn't say this one's too bad. It's just a bit dark, so go light with these, but once you blend it out, I feel like it looks pretty good. It is a very pigmented cream bronzer, so I need to get the lighter shade, but I can pull this one off too, even when I do have self-tan on. I think it's a really nice drugstore cream formula, and I don't really talk much about Revolution, but they do have some great hidden gems in their line. Number 6 is going to go to the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Contour Wand. This is a really nice liquid bronzer, and this is really cool toned, which I really like. So this is also pretty natural on the skin, but it does show up a bit with that cool leaning undertone. It's really easy to blend out as well. I'll go ahead and swatch this one. It looks dark at first, but once you blend it, it's like the perfect tone. So it's not super pigmented. You guys will see another one from Charlotte Tilbury that I like even better in this video as we go along. But I do kind of prefer more of an actual cream rather than a liquid. The liquids tend to be a bit more sheer. Number 5 is going to be the Rare Beauty bronzer sticks, and these I really like the formula of. They're really easy to blend out. They still show up on the skin without blending away, but their color range is not doing it for me. The best shade I could find for myself is the Happy Soul, and it does lean a little bit more cool, but it's still not perfect. I would say I just need a bit more in the range, but as you can see, it blends out beautifully. It's stunning on the cheeks, but I feel like as I'm blending it, it gets even more warmer. So I just wish they had a few more other tones in here, a little bit more cooler or neutral leaning tones. It's hard to find a good shade, and that's why it's not in the tippy top, but it still ranks up there because it is a great formula. Number 4 is going to go to Patrick Ta. These are the Cream Contour and Powder Bronzer Duo. So what's fun with these, they actually come with a cream and a powder bronzer. I really love this formula. It is so nice. The cream is super easy to blend out, and this is the medium tone called She Sculpted, and I have the lighter one as well, but this one I feel like is the best. Again, it has more of a cooler undertone, which is nice, and these show up really well. They're easy to blend on the cheeks, but they're not like too slippery, so they have almost a little bit of a grip to them. And I love that since I do have oily skin, I can kind of set it down with the powder bronzer, which is also really nice. It does change the tone just a bit because the powder's a little bit more warm. You can wear them together or separate, whatever you want to do, but this is a really nice formulation. If you guys like their cream blush like this, it's pretty much the same consistency and formula, and they work really well over powders too, which is important because I do like to set my face sometimes before applying my cheek products. So these are just a really standout cream bronzer. This one really shocked me. This is from Nars, and this is their Laguna bronzing cream. And why this is so surprising to me is because I tried this when it came out last year and I hated it. It was like totally different. I feel like the formulation was different. The shade was also Laguna. The shades are not the same. That shade from last year was so bad on me. It was pretty dark and pretty orangey looking on me, but this one is perfect. So I don't know what happened, but it's definitely different than last year's version, and it's so much better. It definitely has that same strong smell though, so it's very scented, keep that in mind, but this blends like a dream. It looks beautiful on the skin. Really nice tone as well. Here it is kind of swatched out. It just blends so perfectly. So I'm absolutely loving this one. It has a little bit of grip to it as well. So it has almost that powdery finish. It's not oily or dewy looking on the skin. So definitely a top tier cream bronzer. Number 2 is going to go to this tried and true favorite from Tarte. I had to put it in my number 2 spot because this has been a favorite since it launched. I think it's been a couple years, maybe 2 or 3 years at this point, and it's still been amazing to me. And this is the Tarte Breezy Cream Bronzer in Seychelles. I do have this one on today. This one is also very easy to blend out. It's a little bit more of that almost cream to powder feel. I'll go ahead and swatch this one. I love the color of it too. It works really well if you have fair, light skin tones. They do have other tones as well in the line, I believe. Blend it out. It's beautiful. Like I mentioned, this has been in my collection for a while and I still reach for it. I still love it, so it had to steal my number 2 spot. And that leaves our number 1 spot. I'm sure you guys can guess. Number 1 goes to the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Sun-Kissed Cream Bronzer. So I do love this one so much more than the liquid. It is a cream. I would say I use the fair shade quite a bit more, and this is a gorgeous cool tone bronzer. You get a ton of product in here and it's gorgeous. I don't know, they're supposed to be, I know it says a glow bronzer, but I don't associate this with glowy at all. It's definitely more matte in my opinion. But I absolutely love this tone. The blend on it is beautiful. It has almost that kind of putty feel, but also grippy cream to powder that I love for oily skin. So if you guys do have oily skin, even if you don't, I still feel like you're gonna love this. It's very flattering on the cheeks, blends beautifully, no skipping, patchiness. Absolute top perfection favorite cream bronzer of all time. Worth the money for me because every time I wear this I feel beautiful and my makeup always looks flawless. Let me go ahead and swatch this medium one as well. I did a whole video on these. I don't wear this one quite as much. I definitely prefer the fair. This one has a little bit more of a warmer tone, as you guys could see. But if you guys are my tone, you'll love the fair one. So those are all of my cream bronzers ranked. I wanted to go ahead and film this video because I do want to do a bit of a makeup declutter, and I do want to declutter some of my bottom tier cream bronzers. Like I said, none of these are really horrible at all. Anything that was really bad I've probably decluttered already in the years past. Like I've tried a lot. Like I know I've tried the original Fenty, I've tried the Anastasia, which I'm not huge fans of those. Even the original Makeup by Mario contour stick, that one was okay for me. So these are just the ones I currently have in my collection and I thought were pretty good, but I do not need 12. So I wanted to go ahead and do this ranking for you guys. Let me know your thoughts down below. We may have totally different opinions, which is fine because we all have different kind of skin and preferences and what we like in our makeup. I will have these linked down below as well if any interest you and to pick up. But I'm gonna let you guys go and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.